Like the ocean, it gives you peace. So will my program.
To get from you a little bit more of your inspiration that you
governments that are involved. We've been able to form an environmental working group.
Department on energy who have invested approximately or given aid.
Perhaps talk practical profile first.
USIA has given an aid of $1.9 million to this project. Good evening and welcome to A Piece of My Mind. Today we have a topic that is both sad and controversial. Single parenthood in Nigeria is growing. And today we have a guest who has experienced single parenthood, and we want to find out what happened. Good evening, Tokwe. You're Tokwe Olatunji.
Yes.
Welcome to A Piece of My Mind.
Thank you very much.
I want to take you back a few years when you became a single parent.
Okay.
You became a single parent at the age of 18 or 19?
No, at 20.
20.
Yes.
Yeah. Were you married?
No.
Could you explain to me what led, I'm not going to say what led to single parenthood, but what led to the situation that you found yourself a single mother?
Okay. As at then, I'd already lost my mom about a year plus. And then when I discovered that I was pregnant, I was like, I had to get rid of it because I had to I was still thinking about going to school and all that stuff. And my dad was a very strict person, and I knew we would not take it very well. So at the long run, we had to tell him. When he found out, he was very mad at me, and he told me to just leave the house. That he's going to give me just 1 week to leave the house before he sends me packing. So my mother-in-law had to come in. She took me from Lagos because she was living in Osun State. So she took me to Osun State, and I was there for about 4 months. Before I left Lagos, I was already 5 months gone in pregnancy. So I spent about 4 months with her before I left there. I didn't have my baby there. I came back to Lagos because my experience there wasn't.
What was your experience? Going in, that was your partner's mother, I take it.
Yes.
But you guys decided not to stay together?
As at then, they just thought, we were still growing up, and it will not help our situation. So we had to go apart. Not that we had a fight or something. So.
But at 20, if you're old enough, excuse my language, if you're old enough to do the do, then you're old enough to take the responsibilities for it.
Yes, I was willing to.
Yeah.
He was also willing to, but as at then he just gained admission into school, and it wasn't working. I wasn't working, so his mom just accepted responsibility for those situations. Said, if I want to be taken care of, I'll have to go with her to Osun State. So I went with her, and I think for the first 2 months, things were okay. She was very nice. She would take care of me and all those stuff. And like a snap, she just changed, and I don't really know what happened. They say sometimes when there's no money, you kind of bring out
those kind of things in you.
in you. So
What were the kind of experiences you had? You were pregnant. You were about 7 months at this stage.
yes, and I think it got to a point because then I didn't go to the hospital. I was only eating vegetables, taking some vitamins and all those stuff. And most of the things you have to do there's no car that takes you around. You have to go, you have to trek. If you are going anywhere, you trek to where you are going. And the church we used to go to there then was very far from where we are living. So I used to trek there. And it got to a point from my nagging and complaining and all that. And I used to have like worse nightmares then. So she said it would be wise for me to be in the church where I'll be protected and all those things. It will be a very good environment for me. And that was like the outskirts of town of Osun State. It's like people living around the bush or something because there's a stream around that place. So I spent like 21 days there.
In the church?
In the church, yes. I spent 21 days there, and I was living with the woman. She took care of me. She was very nice. And initially when I got there, I kept to myself. I didn't want to like ask her for things because when I got there, I didn't have anything to eat and all those stuff. But I just discovered there's a farm around here, and I kind of like adapted to. Because then I didn't see myself a few years from then going out of there, being okay and doing well on my own. I wasn't looking to the future. I was resolved I was determined to settle for whatever I get. So
But you then came back to the city.
Yes, I had to come back because eventually my sister-in-law, my dad's younger brother, the wife, so called my dad, begged him on my behalf, and my sister too. So he said they should come to Osun State to come and see how I was doing. And when they got there, the report they gave him wasn't very okay because I was looking very bad. And so he told them to bring me back to Lagos. But I didn't go to my family. I didn't go and stay with my dad. I had to go to my auntie's place. So I stayed there for like a month before I finally delivered. And I was with her for up to 6 months before I moved in with my dad.
Okay. Who was helping you look after this baby? You were on your own, apart from your dad and your sister. What happened?
The first 6 months while I was with my aunt, I was pretty much doing everything on my own. So I would do the washing and everything on my own. But after I moved in with my dad, my sister was so helpful. She would take care of the baby because then I had to go to computer school to learn computer, do something.
Just to get yourself
Exactly,
going.
because I couldn't go to school as at then. So I had to go to computer school, and my sister would take care of the baby. My dad was also there.
What level did you get to in school before you had to stop?
It was just SSC.
So you had finished secondary school.
Yes.
And so then having the baby turned your life around. Were you going to go to university at all?
Yes.
You wanted to go to university?
Yes.
What did you want to study?
I wanted to study mass comm.
Mass communication.
Yes.
So you had the baby, and now you became a mother.
Yes.
What happened to the man?
For the first 1 year after I had the baby, he was supportive.
Has he seen the baby since then?
He has.
Does he pay any kind of responsibilities towards the child? So who's taking care of this child? You lost your dad a few years ago as well.
Yes.
And so, after losing your dad, who was kind of in the end came round to help you and understand why you did what you did.
My uncle. We had an uncle who was not in Nigeria. He was in America. He's in America. So then he used to send money to us, and the money doesn't come to us straight. Along the line, I don't know the report he got. He just stopped sending money, and God was so good that before then, one of my church members, the woman, I was going to her church. She was the one who introduced me to her church. So she called me one day and said, "There's this kind of work. It's a casual work. If you're interested in doing it, at least it will put food on your table and all that stuff." So I started going there, and from there, things went well. I faced my work. I wasn't concerned about anybody else, and people kind of liked me, and I'm still there now.
You're still there.
Yes.
That's good. And your child is how old now?
He's going to be 6 in May 20.
Okay. Do you feel any regrets about being a single mother?
I will have to say, I think marriage is good. I want to be married. But I think for now, it's good.
You don't mind having had the child on your own, having to pay all the fees for the nursery, looking after the child, the responsibilities. You don't mind that?
I mind. It's very challenging, but the boy is mine, and there's no other person to push him to.
But he's not really yours, is he? He answers another person's surname.
Yes, but I gave birth to him,
Uh-huh.
and directly or indirectly, I'm responsible for him. What if maybe a year after that he lost his dad? I will still be taking care of him with nobody's help. So,
if you were to wind back the clock and go back to when you were 19, 20, when you got pregnant, would you have done anything different?
I don't think so, because my son is a blessing. And looking at losing my mom, losing my dad, if I had been single with no baby and no responsibility, maybe I wouldn't have turned out like this. I may have gotten lost in the world, because I'll be free.
I'd like to go to the audience and take some questions, so I'm going to take a time out on a piece of my mind and come right back to you. I have my own first question. Talk about you see a young girl who's lost mom, dad, and when you said you don't regret having a child, would you say to that young girl, go ahead and have a child because otherwise you'll enjoy your life and get lost?
No.
What would you say to that young girl?
I will tell them not to, because the only thing that is common and then the same in human beings is the breath that God gave us in the beginning. We are different, and the kind of way I can handle situation is different from the way the other person can, and the mentality is just different. The way I was brought up is different from the way the other person is brought up, and along the line, whether you lose it or not, the foundation still comes to the surface, and you kind of go back to, you look at where you are coming from, and then you make use of that.
Okay, let me go to my audience and take a couple of questions. Please give me your name and your question.
My name is Ahmed. My question is, during your troubled times, how closely did you turn to God? Or during those troubled times, did you put a lot of blame on top of him for putting so many challenges in front of you? Thank you.
Well, I'll have to say that was when I discovered God. Because as at then, I was at the point where I was in the church. I was living in the church. I would pray all the time, and what I was going through then sort of led me closer to God. And when I eventually gave birth, and things were just falling into place. Before I would feel there's nobody there to look after me, to take care of things. Things just go the right way, and there's nobody to thank for that except God. And He has been so good.
So God was kind to you.
Exactly.
All right. Can I have the next question, please?
My name is Busayo Adekombi. Please, I would like to know what was your reaction when you get to know that you are pregnant, considering the fact that you lost your mom and you are married with your dad, and how did you break the news to the guy responsible, and what was his reaction? Thank you.
That's a very funny question. In the first instance, when I got pregnant, for the first month, I was ill, so I didn't know I was pregnant. The second month, I think my period came. I still didn't know I was pregnant. So I was 2 months gone in pregnancy, and I didn't know myself. He was the first person that asked me, "You look different. What's wrong with you?" So we had to go and do tests, and he told me I was pregnant. So I was shocked, but I wasn't really thinking about myself then. I was thinking about my dad that is going to cut my head off.
So when the young man knew that you were pregnant, what did he say?
He asked me what we were going to do about it. And my answer was, I can't keep it though, because my dad is going to kill me.
But your dad didn't kill you in the end?
Yes.
I'm just going to ask you one last thing, which is always the best thing on a piece of my mind. Seeing that you've been through single parenthood, seeing that you lost your parents, seeing all this, what is your piece off your mind about single parenthood? What is it that would you say will make you go away and never repeat it? Or what is it that has kept you going that can keep all other single mothers going?
I think women who are single, find themselves being a single parent, they should have a strong mind, because that's the only thing that can keep you move close to God, and He's the only one that can advise you on what to do. He's the only one that can lead you, because it's not really by our power. It's not what we can do on our own. It's God's leading, and it's really, men should be more responsible, because it's funny when these guys, when you get pregnant and they just go away, and by the time they realize it, they come back to you broke, and it's not really very comforting. I'll try to understand you, because I've been doing it successfully for all the time that you have gone, and you're being there now without having anything does not make any difference. But at least be responsible. Be responsible when it makes sense. Be responsible when you know you are going to be useful. Because it kind of like, when you are responsible at a particular time when you are supposed to, it helps the child. It's good to bring up a child in an environment where the parents are complete and they are together. It kind of like psychologically affects the life of the child the positive way, and everything is just okay. It's kind of fairy tale kind of thing we look forward to. We are in a hurry to grow up. We're in a hurry to grow breast and then start going out dating. We don't look to what comes after that. We don't look to that. But when we sit down and look at it, and when the guys at the same time, you stop conforming to the idea of I'm grown up now, I'm 17, I can go out, I can date. So, I feel like I'm old now, because when I see some guys going after some girls, I just look at them and I say, can
they take on their responsibilities? It's not all about doing it and the 5-minute wonder. it's also about the responsibility that might come up afterwards. One of the things I grew up with I have 7 brothers, and they always used to say to me as I grew up, if you can do it, you must learn to live with it. So if you don't like the man to live with, don't bother being with. And just simple like that. And I think that's what it is. If you are going to decide to take that leap to find yourself and have the 5-minute wonder, then you also have to live with the fact that the 5-minute wonder might lead you to a 9-month stretch, which will also lead you to a child who you'll have to take responsibility for all your life. And that's what you have to do. Single parenthood might actually be a good thing for some people, or it could be a bad thing. But in the end, it's your responsibility to be responsible. Have a nice day, and see you next week on A Piece of Mind.